Okay. Hello and welcome to Track by Track Reviews. With me today, Sean Duffy. Once again, third time. And today we're going to review the new Sufjan Stevens album, The Age of Odds. And the big thing about this album is Sufjan Stevens is slowly becoming like, people are he's been hinting at like sort of this kind of album, like with The Dark Was the Night. He put in like a 19-minute song. And then, yeah, You Are the Blood, check it out. It's actually pretty cool. And then his last EP was like over an hour long.
It was like almost an hour, I think.
Yeah, and a couple of the songs on there were really long too. So
I think the last one was like 18 minutes.
Yeah, so people are sort of kind of expecting him to sort of break away from the Illinois styles music, which is just like this acoustic, you know, his soft, whispery voice. And I think people sort of forget about his, I guess it was his second album, Enjoy Your Rabbit, which actually was just like electronic music. And people have just sort of gotten used to banjo and all that kind of stuff.
Singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
There's arrangements.
Yeah, unfortunately there's no banjo in this album.
Yeah.
This is just like a huge, epic album. It's like, what is it, like an hour and 15 minutes
Hour
long?
and 14.
Yeah, and and the last song is like 25 minutes long.
It's like one-third of the album.
Yeah,
it's that
huge. So let's just get into this. The first song, Futile Devices. This song is probably one of the most similar to his older stuff. It's just like, I don't think there's any electronics in this song.
No, it's just acoustic guitar,
piano, and
soft
voice. I like the song though.
Yeah, I think it's a good introduction too. Because from that song, it just goes to
it eases you into it. But yeah, I like this song. It leads into the next song, Too Much, which is like 8.5 minutes long.
Compared to Impossible Soul, it's one of the shorter songs on the
album. Yeah, seriously. And actually, this song for me does go by pretty fast, even though the chorus is repeated. Like he says,
too much riding on that.
Too much riding on that. Probably, like, not exaggerating, probably over 50 times, like, throughout the course of this song. But really it doesn't bother me because in between that, he'll sort of, like, add something new to the song or take it somewhere different. Like I said, there's a lot of electronic noises. The drum beat, if you wear headphones, it's just, like, all over the drum beat.
Lots of panning and just all over the place, but still kind of, you know, it is interesting. It's not just, like, trying self-absorbed, just trying to do something weird.
And one other thing I wanted to say was, while he's still experimenting with all this electronic stuff, I think he still brings in all the orchestration and all that. Like, that's all still definitely there. So it's not like he's completely like changing his style.
New elements into it.
Yeah.
Shifting things around.
Exactly. All right, Age of Odds.
The song's, I think the best description of the song could be done in one word is epic.
Horrible. Oh. Yeah, epic.
A lot of this really brings back a lot of the big string arrangements and all that stuff that we're more familiar with.
Yeah, like when this song first opens up, it's actually like just like a huge sound. It's really actually kind of dark and like if this were on Fantasia, there'd be like thunderbolts coming down. Like I don't know. This is just like this song's almost scary. As the song unfolds, it slowly becomes actually like a really pretty song.
Yeah.
And I think this is where the orchestration might be the best on the album.
Yeah. And this song is, the first one is, something I've noticed about this album is his voice is very different. It's not so much the very soft voice that we're more familiar to. It's very distraught almost and very, I don't know, just very different from Sufjan. It's something I like. This is the first single that got released from this album. And I probably listened to this about 5 times before I could think of an opinion for it, because it was really different.
I love this song.
I love it too.
I don't know if it hit me at first how much I love this song, because I was like busy concentrating on like one of the later songs, Vesuvius, and like the opening track after Too Much and Age of Odds. I sort of like skipped over this song, but now it's one of my favorites on the album. I think it's an incredible song, and the melody is so good that I feel like this is one of those songs that even old Sufjan Stevens fans could appreciate.
Yeah, and it's got, compared to like Too Much or Age of Odds, almost got a more minimal electronic feel to it. It just
I think one of the things about this album is for some reason I find myself not listening to the words that Sufjan Stevens sings as much, and I'm more listening to like the instrumentation and all that, which is kind of odd because when I listen to Illinois, it's kind of shut. Like when I listen to songs like John Wayne Gacy Jr., you're like listening to every single word that Sufjan sings, and like on this album, you find yourself not listening as much. But this song, I found myself listening to all the words, and it's more of a classic Sufjan Stevens song, just about like a love gone sour. Like the opening line is, "Lover, will you look at me now? I'm already dead to you, but I'm inclined to explain to you what I could not before." It's just like he hasn't totally turned his back on his old style. There's still all the passion and emotion that we love about him. The next song, Now That I'm Older, I would say is probably not one of my favorite songs on the album. This is one of those that I'm probably not going to pull aside by itself and listen to, but in the context of the album, yeah, it fits in there fine. It is like, it almost shouldn't fit in, because it's got like harp and like piano.
Yeah, it's very like wishy and washy.
Wishy-washy?
But it's got a very weird flow to it.
Yeah.
There's no like underlying drum here.
Yeah, there's no drums. Yeah, and it's like really slow, and there's just like a ton of background vocals, and I don't know, I think it's a pretty song, but I mean, it's not one of my favorites.
This song, like, I know you're saying you shouldn't really get into the lyrics as much as some of the other songs, but this song I think is the one where the lyrics stood out most to me, and that's probably why it was one of the standout tracks to me.
The next song, Get Real, Get Right, is sort of back to the Age of Odds kind of sound, that track anyway. And actually, I think one of the weirdest things you get, which may be like hinting at the song Impossible Soul, is you get like the Daft Punk like robot voice in there.
Yeah, it's vocoder or whatever.
Yeah.
So you can play with the keyboard.
Yeah, and I don't know, actually it didn't bother me.
Yeah,
I was surprised,
it.
but I liked it. And I think this song's really good too.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like, it's once again just like the sort of dark orchestration with like bassy synths and electronic drum beat. So back to that kind of stuff. The next song, Bad Communication, is actually one of my favorite songs on the album, even though it's like 2 minutes and 20 seconds long. It's a pretty simple song, but the melody that Sufjan sings is really, really good. And I don't know, one thing I sort of thought about when I was listening to the words was the words "I love you" are thrown around in music so much that it sort of like loses meaning. But when I hear him sing it, I like believe him because he puts all his emotion into it, and I think that says a lot about him.
This song, once again, kind of is more, I don't know what the word would be, like, they're not really relaxed vocals, they're not the very soft vocals. He's really singing his heart out. This album, I think.
The next song, Vesuvius, is actually the first song I heard on this album, and which is kind of weird because I Walked was like the first song released, but I heard this on NPR's podcast, All Songs Considered, and I wasn't even really excited for this album, and then I heard this song and I was like, okay, I need to get this album. I think this song is one of the best on the album.
Yeah, I have to agree that it's one of the best songs on the album. And having talked to a lot of Sufjan fans who didn't like Age of Odds, just as friends, but and wasn't, Illinois Part 2. This was usually why I found it to be their favorite track.
But like the electronic stuff on this song is actually, I think, executed really well. Yeah. I like it. So I don't know. I guess if you don't like electronic music, give this a shot. If you don't like this song, you're gonna hate this album.
Really hate it.
Like,
you're left with Futile Devices.
Yeah. And I think another thing to note about this song is that he is sort of back to that like whispery singing style on this song. And it's kind of weird. Like the first couple times I listened to this song, I thought the background vocals were singing Vesuvius, which they are for a while, but then they started singing Sufjan's name.
Really?
Yeah. It's like Vesuvius, and then they just go Sufjan. Yeah. It's kind of weird. So he's like singing to himself. It was really odd. The next song, All For Myself, it's probably another one of those songs I'm not going to drag out and listen to by itself, but once again in the album, and pretty much every song works.
Yeah, there's not really a track that's like, huh?
What is this song doing here? How did it sneak in?
There's no black metal song in this song.
Well, yeah. I don't know, I found the arrangement for the song really weird, because at times it's like really loud and epic, and then other times it's just Sufjan and
It really plays with dynamics, and which a lot of them I think does.
Yeah. Okay, the next song, I Want to Be Well. I like this song.
Sufjan is not fucking around.
Yeah, he's not fucking around. If you listen to this song, the lyrics are really like creepy. At one point, it's just a female voice by herself, and she sings, "I'll find sleep, I'll find peace, or in death you'll sleep with me." And it's like, whoa. This song is like, I don't know, something might be wrong with him. We might need some help. Either way.
I saw a review on Spontan Music. Basically, it just said, "This is the sound of Sufjan going insane." And I think I might agree a little bit.
I do too.
But I enjoy it.
Yeah, I like it.
I enjoy his insanity.
Yeah, he can go insane if he wants to. If it sounds like this. The last song in the album, big, huge, impossible soul. Yeah, I just remember whenever I would talk to this album, about this album to anybody, it'd just be like, did you hear the last song for 25 minutes? Yeah, what's up with that?
That 25 minutes, that's hectares long.
Yeah.
But at least with metal, that album, it's 6 songs, and it's still 11 songs, so it's still a full album.
Yeah. But I think the difference between, there's a million differences between this song and Echoes, but that song sort of is maybe 2 separate songs. This song's 5 or 6 separate songs. Another thing that everyone was talking about was the auto-tune. It was Sufjan Stevens using auto-tune.
Yeah, it's definitely the most oh, the hell?
Yeah.
In the album.
That's probably the one beef I had with the entire album.
Yes.
And it's just a small part of the song.
I just tricked myself to act like it's just a weird fact that's if you had a flanger on his voice, I think it would sound weird or something.
Yeah.
Not out of tune.
Yeah. But even for Sufjan, I can't make that exception and be I'm okay with this. Auto-tune has just never worked for me unless in a satirical
Or
use.
Pogo or something where they just
Yeah.
weird samples with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the rest of this song is actually really, really good. I think the melodies are really beautiful at certain points. He's accompanied by a female voice. I can't quite remember. I think she's from My Brightest Diamond or something. I've never heard of them. But I mean, she works with him really well. She sort of gets her own solo.
My favorite part of this song is probably, I think it's the 4th out of the 5 parts in the song, where it's just got this big chant, and it's not so impossible. And that's probably my favorite part. And also the last acoustic section, I cannot talk, is familiar to Futile Devices.
All right, so what do you think of this album as a whole?
Worst album ever.
Okay, I agree. This has been Track by Track Reviews.
I really enjoyed this album. I was having heard all the Delighted People EP and not really being blown away about that. There was good songs on it, but it bored me, to tell you the truth. But this is something I can listen to all the way through all the time and constantly come back because it's really interesting. And comparing it to Illinois, I love Illinois, but I would say this is much more adventurous of an album. Sometimes most of the time it works well, sometimes it doesn't, like the auto-tune. But it's something that's really interested me, and I'm really happy he made this album over any other album that he could have done.
Okay, so what do you think of this one?
I'd give it a 9.
Right on. Overall, this album I thought was really, really awesome. And I think people who are hardcore Sufjan fans are going to sort of understand where he's coming from, but people who just sort of like Seven Swans and Michigan and Illinois,
The casual.
yeah, they're probably not going to really understand where he's coming from. But if you've been paying attention to Sufjan Stevens' career, you sort of understand that this isn't a huge shift, and it's not like we didn't really see this coming with his last EP and the huge song that he contributed to Dark Was the Night. But I mean, even if you were prepared for it and you just don't enjoy it, I think you can still appreciate the balls this album took and doing something different. I respect that, and for me it worked. Many of these songs I'm probably not going to listen to by themselves, I mean, like I said, but the songs like Vesuvius, Too Much, and I Walked, I can just listen to those anytime. But really, to get the full experience, you got to listen to this thing from start to finish. And as long as it is, it's worth every minute. So while I wasn't necessarily expecting to love this album as much as I do, I really did. So I'm going to give this one an 8.5 out of 10. And it's one of my favorite albums of the year. For Track by Track Reviews, Rory Sullivan, this is Sean Duffy. Once again, the album The Age of Oz by Sufjan Stevens, out on Asthmatic Kitty. So go check this one out, and till next week. Till next week.